transformation is on across the continent. And one of the things that I discovered is that there's a network of transformers. And that's what I want this forum to be. A network of transformers. From across, next month, I'm going to bring you somebody else, another transformer from Nigeria. Just build that network. So how many people are interested in being in that network? I tell you, the history of Africa will not be complete without them talking about your contribution. All right, so pit stop execution. One of the biggest challenges that a lot of people have is not having the idea, it is executing the implementation of the idea, isn't it? I work with a lot of companies that this year we come and they say this is our strategy. And then next year, a few months later, you get there and the problem has become worse. Why? Because they did not implement. And a crisis is nothing more than a change that was not managed properly. And let me say, when I talk transformation, what are we talking about? Let's start from there. Transformation, you see, when you hear the word transatlantic, it means across the Atlantic. Transnational is across nations. Transform is across form, from one form to another. So you look at a butterfly. One form is an egg. The other form is the caterpillar. The other form is the pupa. The other form is the butterfly, isn't it? Now, what a lot of people, unfortunately, call transformation is just movement within the egg. So they are sitting egg, standing egg, turning egg. Honey, you're still an egg. It's like somebody has been living in the slum in one room, and then you move to 2 rooms in the slum, and after some time you manage to live in 3 rooms where the biggest house in the slum. And then you begin to celebrate, and some mumus around you begin to clap hands for you. Listen, you're still in the slum. Be very careful of people who celebrate your mediocrity. Because part of my commission is to make poverty a choice and not a sentence in this continent. So anybody who is poor or unemployed in the continent of Africa is poor and unemployed not because they had to, but they chose to. That's where we want to be with our companies, with our dreams. We want to be able to execute with pit stop accuracy. So, what's the first thing we need to have? We need to have a picture of success. It must be well defined. All right? Those guys in the pit stop, it was well defined. They knew exactly what they were going to do. Everybody knew their role. Part of the problem with execution is that there's ambiguity in role placements. People don't know exactly the scope of what they're supposed to do. It must be well defined. Don't make assumptions. The next thing you need is the right team. All right? Listen, the team must have the capacity for the dream. And you don't get emotional about your right team, because let me tell you something I have learned. No amount of motivation can motivate a horse to fly. If that horse, listen, oh, look, you see, you cuddle the horse, you pat the horse, you call the horse honey, call the horse sugar, it's a lie, it's not flying. A lot of people, you bring people around you that don't have capacity for your dream. And you wonder why things are not happening. Winston Churchill said one of the reasons for his success was he surrounded himself with people who are more intelligent than he was. I learned that and I did that. I'm surrounded by absolutely smart people. All right? Absolutely smart people. And that has made a world of difference in impact. You listen to Modesta speak. This is a lady that I think the Times of London named her as one of the 20, shakers, new generation shakers of Africa. Somebody hearing me. Let me prepare you. When you come for these events every month, you'll be inspired. I don't encourage people, I provoke people. Encouragement says, it's okay, it doesn't matter where you are, it's okay, it matters where you are. I'm not in the business of encouraging. Sometimes you need people who will slap you out of mediocrity. Forget this, B players do not produce A results. Performance must be measured within the context of potential. So you think you're doing well today. What's your potential? Because performance that is measured in isolation of potential is not an accurate figure. Now, many times I would hear people, especially in the church, say, you must maximize your potential. And I say, okay, how do you maximize your potential? First thing, how do you measure your potential? Because you cannot maximize something you have not been able to measure. A tool for measuring potential. And the first thing we look at is relationships. Have you maximized all the relationships? Next thing we look at, skills. Have you maximized all your skills? Make a list of your skills. How have you maximized those skills towards this great dream you have? Wise people will start thinking legacy, and that will wake you up. Listen, is it every day I want to wake up at 2 o'clock? No. But when I'm sleeping and I wake up and it's cold, and then you suddenly remember school fees. You will wake up. You must have, because, and then finally, you must have a sense of urgency. Okay? A sense of what? Urgency. That will help execution so brilliantly. Look, I never put anything off, and my staff know it. When we think it, we do it. There is nothing like, I am going to call that person tomorrow. No, call now. Why do you want to put it off? I'm going to send that email to, no, send it now. Because, let me tell you something, if you don't have that sense of urgency, that feeling, that complacency is born out of a delusion that you are in control of time. You understand what I'm saying? That's where complacency comes from a delusion that you are in control of time. I will do it tomorrow. What if something happens tomorrow, you're not able to do it? Have a sense of urgency that if I do not execute this right now, so many things are at stake. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why a vision without a timeline is just a wish. You must put the timeline. All right? And I do that constantly. So I said, on Monday, you go on powertalks.biz, you'll be able to watch our first program. All right? Next month, please mark it in your diary, the first Thursday. Next month, I'm going to be talking about personal branding. How do we now brand ourselves for the dream? All right? But on that note, thank you very much. I'm open to questions.
Afternoon, gentlemen and ladies. My name is Kariuki Kamau, a motivational speaker. I'm so much impressed by you, Dr. Wale. One thing I'd like to ask, maybe you can share with us, what makes you all to keep that focus and the drive? Yeah? Don't feel frustrated sometimes by the issues and the happening of this Africa of ours. Thank you.
It depends on what side of Africa you're looking at. If you're looking at the side that the media is making us look at, you'll be frustrated. But if you're looking at the side, the reality, when I look at those two kids from Madare, I'm inspired. When I look at people in this continent, like Modesta, people like my friend Fela Dorotoye in Nigeria, people who are doing great things, then I get inspired.
Thank you very much for the presentation. My name is Cardinal. My question is, I think I will change it after your answer. Why focus on Africa, or what side of Africa are you focusing on when Africa is so diverse and so not united? And so
thank you. In 1963, October, Kwame Nkrumah, at the founding of the Organization of African Unity, he said some things that are profound, and I write about that tomorrow, I think. And one of the things he said is that Africa is too big not to be united. All right? Think of it. We are the largest, we have the largest number of states in the UN, and we have the smallest voice. Come, is somebody not thinking about that? How can we have the largest number of states? And once one of the permanent members vetoes, That's it. Look, in my generation, it's either we have a voice or we pull out. That is it. And I will lead that revolution. We either have a voice, or we, because if it, there was a guy who wrote in New Africa magazine, because his name is Dick Hoffman, I think it is. And this is in 2005. He wrote in New Africa magazine, and he said, Africa contributes less than 3% of global GDP. And so if Africa were wiped off the face of the map, the effect on the rest of the world would be negligible.